I made a joke on Facebook about the upcoming UFC fight night at the White House, and over 100 people got quite angry. Not at the president, but at me. One of them even suggested death. Welcome to Freedom 250. It's been all over the news lately, but we've actually known about this for over a year. President Donald Trump is hosting a UFC title fight on the White House lawn June 14th. It's Flag Day, and it's also his 80th birthday because, you know, subtlety died in 2024. It's all part of celebrating America's semi-quincentennial 250 years of liberty. And one way we can commemorate this historic event is by bringing back the Roman Empire. Now, here's an aerial view of what the UFC arena towering over the White House looks like today. The cage itself has a name, the Claw. Now, where have I seen something like this before? Where have I seen it? Oh yeah, the Roman Colosseum. And spoiler alert, the Roman Empire eventually fell. Nonetheless, we have 5,000 ringside seats, 85,000 overflow at the Ellipse. It will be broadcasting on Paramount Plus, and the total cost to build, $60 million. And if you personally have $1.5 million, you get a VIP package, cage side seats, photo op with the president, and a commemorative gold Trump cup. So the rich get the cage, everyone else gets a screen, and remember, it's not pay-per-view, it's pay-per-us. Hello, dear friends. I'm Israel Balderas. I'm a First Amendment attorney. I've also been covering Washington, D.C. politics since Bill Clinton was in the White House. Right now, I teach media law and ethics in Middle America, but honestly, none of it prepared me for the Claw. Although, the Pentagon tried their best to make it even more American because President Donald Trump wants to fill those 85,000 seats on the Ellipse. So the Pentagon started recruiting troops to attend, which sounds very generous until you read the memo. Military personnel who want to attend fight night must meet current waist height ratio requirements. In other words, no fatties at the president's birthday party on the South Lawn of the White House. And here's the other part of the memo. Travel costs cannot be covered. So, to be clear, the UFC is spending $60 million on this event. The President of the United States is personally worth over $1 billion more than he was a year ago, and the troops have to pay their own way. No fatties, no pores. Again, welcome to Freedom 250. So naturally, I did what any responsible legal scholar would do. I went to Facebook and I posed a question which honestly was in the form of some humor because boy, do we need some laughter today. Here's what I wrote. I think there's a lot of untapped potential here. If we're going all in, meaning Roman-like entertainment in Washington, why stop at UFC? Let's stock the reflecting pool with bass and let Bass Pro Shops host a fishing tournament. What about a monster truck rally around the Rose Garden? And then I asked, what other events should we turn the White House into? Now, I expected maybe 10 comments, 15 tops, with suggestions and maybe some jokes sprinkled throughout, like John Marshall. He posted the following: sprint car races around the Washington Monument. And Keith Murrow suggested we should have a NASCAR race around the Beltway and call it MAGA 500. And also, what about Scale the Monument competition? Someone posted a mock carnival image with the White House surrounded by amusement park rides. And again, pretty funny stuff, right? That was the first group of posters. They got the joke. But then there was the second group, roughly 100 people who were furious, not at the UFC fight, but at me. Here's what they wrote. It's been planned for a year. Stop crying. Libtard. Weak-ass liberal. One person informed me that all liberals should die. Another explained I had written, and I want to make sure that I get this exactly right, the dumbest libtard posts today. Sir, I asked about fishing tournaments at the reflecting pool. But here's the deal. almost nobody addressed the question underneath the joke. What does it mean when the White House becomes a Roman Empire-like entertainment venue? Instead, most people wanted to talk about drag queens, about Biden, about kneeling during the national anthem, about grievances from the last decade of cultural warfare. My dumb monster truck joke had accidentally touched something much bigger. You know, throughout American history, the White House lawn has been the place for patriotic moments. Think of Dolly Madison running into a burning building to save Washington's portrait before the British burned it down. A president greeting astronauts returning from the moon, state dinners with foreign leaders. There have been moments of mourning, moments of unity, moments meant to remind Americans that the presidency symbolizes something beyond the person holding the office. Podcaster Joe Rogan, who endorsed Trump in 2024 and who's slated to attend, is not a fan of the event. He's calling it kind of a gimmick.
I don't like it. I don't like the idea of fighting outside at all.
Well, there's problems with it.
And then
done it too many
it's
times.
June,
Yeah.
and it's D.C., and we looked it up the last time, like last year, same day, it was 100 degrees.
Yeah.
And Trump's response? Here's what he told a reporter. At first I thought, that's not nice, Trump said. And then I realized it is a gimmick. Life is a gimmick, if you think about it, right? But it's a good gimmick. It's something that will never happen again. Mr. President, sir, that is the most honest thing you've said in years. The real story isn't the cage. The real story is that for a huge number of Americans, a UFC fight at the White House isn't a joke. It's a statement. This White House is for us. And criticism of it means you think you're better than us. That's why most are not defending the event itself. They're defending the identity surrounding the UFC fight. The subtext in almost every angry comment I've seen is the same. You're not criticizing UFC, you're criticizing us. That's why every political fight today doesn't involve policies anymore. We now argue about lifestyles, taste, who belongs. And we also don't talk about governing. Those people who were angry at me over on Facebook, they didn't mention constitutional principles or discuss public institutions meant to represent all Americans. Everyone's talking about symbolism, about spectacle. And the strange thing isn't just that there's a UFC fight at the White House. It's that nobody can tell anymore where politics ends and entertainment begins. Apparently, America has finally decided, what if we bring back the Roman Empire, but this time it's sponsored by Monster Energy? Because a republic can survive disagreement, it can survive bad ideas, it can even survive bad presidents. What's harder is surviving the moment nobody cares anymore. Leave a comment below. Tell me, what event would you have at the White House? And if you can do me a favor, please subscribe to this channel. Yes, even if you're angry with me, especially if you're angry with me, because that way you and I can continue the conversation.